And make sure the instruments are on. They're on. Nighttime, of course, you have to have the lights.
Okay.
I have the cockpit refrigerator on. I have the freshwater pump on. And the regular refrigerator on. And the
Freezer's on.
freezer's on. And there's a saltwater pump
Uh-huh.
that goes to an outlet out by where the anchor is. And I can actually wash the anchor down with salt water.
Oh, because it comes up mucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll show you an easier way to do that. Self-wash.
Sweet. All right.
Now, this is something I had to add, and if you can get the factory to add that, that'd be
Oh,
really
this is
nice.
important. Oh,
Okay.
this is the village. Yeah.
See, these are built from. Now, this tells me that I have power going to the bilge pumps.
Oh, you'd have two because there's
Yeah,
two
on either
buildings.
side.
Uh-huh.
Now, I can test each of those to see if they work by flipping it over to manual. So, that's the other
Okay.
side. So, it's noisy, very noisy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I know that it works.
Okay.
Also, that alarm will go off if that water gets up to that second switch.
Right.
Or if the pumps go off for more than 2 minutes.
Mm.
If the pumps are going on 2 minutes, that's a lot of water those things can pump out. And it just is a warning, hey, something's going on. You got a lot of water coming in here.
Right.
This tells you how much you have on each of the tanks. This, I think, is standard. It shows you how much I've got 114 liters in the starboard
Uh-huh.
fuel tank, and I've got 110 in the port tank, and I have 491 liters of water in the water tank.
Ah, okay. So number 2 is the water.
I added this, which is something you probably want to add to.
What is it?
It's a galvanic isolator.
Okay.
Galvanic isolator. And what that does is isolates your shore power from your boat power. It's a
Oh.
transformer.
Oh,
Yes.
very good idea in case the shore power has a surge
Well,
or
what
something.
happens is you get a lot of current running
Uh-huh.
through your boat and it'll eat up your zincs in a month or two. So
Ah.
it saves your zincs.
Okay.
Um,
Galvanic isolator.
What else did I add? This I think I had to add, but I think it's standard on your boat. I added this separate circuit breaker.
Where?
That's a 90 amp circuit breaker.
That
Right
one.
here.
Okay.
This is a 100 amp
Right.
circuit breaker. And both your electric
The one with the yellow
winch,
switch. Yeah, that's fine.
electric winch and the anchor winch
Uh-huh.
both operate off of that. If you operate your electric winch and your anchor winch at the same time, it'll throw the circuit breaker.
Ah.
That circuit breaker was in over where the batteries are, and very difficult to get to. You have to pull up the cushions to get to it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So this is much better. Okay.
What else? This tells you your battery conditions. It's now at 100% power. I can check the condition of it. It's 600 amp hours left. I can see how much current's going in or out. It's now using 2.5 amps. It's now charging because I've got a lot of sun and both solar panels are working.
And so you're not hooked up to shore power? You're just
I'm not
using-
right now.
Okay.
If I have both refrigerators and the freezers working, I generally hook it up to
Shore power?
shore power because it draws a lot. It'll go overnight. It'll draw it down to about 97%.
Oh, that's not much.
So,
That's not much at all.
and this is all for the water maker.
Okay.
And I have a separate alarm here.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting a water maker because we're doing mostly inshore
It
stuff.
takes a lot of space. It takes up almost all the space underneath
Yeah,
there.
I think we're not doing that.
And this is your
Oh.
CB radio?
Yes. No, that's not CB. That's high frequency radio. That's
Okay.
single sideband.
Okay.
Because I'm a ham. So
Okay, so you have your
in more
license.
ways than one. But
So this is something you had special because you're a ham radio operator, or
Yes.
does my husband need to get, or does one of us need to get our ham radio
No.
license? Because I know Chuck got his.
Yes and no. Yeah, it's a good exercise to go through, and it's like your Coast Guard license. There's just a lot of stuff you have to remember, memorize. If I were to do it again today, I think I would just subscribe to satellite radio,
Uh-huh.
because with satellite radio, it's just as good as this.
Okay. And you just put a satellite radio in instead of that?
Yeah, you have a handheld satellite
Oh,
radio. You know,
handheld.
you have to pay something like $150 a month for the service, but it's probably worth it.
Mhm.
You don't have to have all this installation.
Okay.
This is nice because it's got emergency channels.
Mhm.
If I push this button, depending upon what frequency I can contact almost anybody in the world with that emergency.
Well, what, don't you have that, isn't that redundant also? Don't you have another radio where you contact people up
Mhm,
there?
mhm.
Right, okay.
Yes. All my electronics is back in there as well as
You mean in
the
that
inverter.
closet?
Yes.
Right there?
You know, open
The
that
freezer?
closet. There's an inverter in there. I
Oh,
carry
big closet.
tools. I have all my manuals in there in a filing cabinet type thing. An inverter and a battery charger and the galvanic isolator is
It's in
back in there. Almost all the electronics is back in there.
And then underneath it, just storage?
Storage. I used to have the printer there because when I use the ham radio, I also have a laptop here tied to it,
Mhm,
so I can use sail mail.
Sail mail. I've never heard
Yeah.
of sail mail.
Sail mail is like when we first started using email. You have to prepare a message ahead of time, then you turn on the radio, and then it sends it.
Sends it real fast.
Not really fast.
Oh,
It
but-
sends it. And then when you have any messages, you have to ask for them, and it will download it onto your laptop. The nice thing about that is we use that for what's called the GRIB charts. The GRIB are NOAA, National Oceanic and Airspace Administration or something like that. No, NOAA. Anyway, they have what they call the GRIB charts, which will tell you what the wind is going to be doing at any one moment, any place in the world.
Mhm.
And the reason that was handy is because when we left New Zealand to go to Tahiti, normally you have to go down to pick up the westerlies, then you go almost all the way to South America, 150 degrees, then you go north, catch the trade winds that are coming off of South America, and go back over to Tahiti. We went straight.
Mhm.
Took us 18 days to cover 2,400 miles. And the reason we could do that is because it was the La Nina year. And the trade winds are above Tahiti. Stayed up really high. So we went straight across.
And you
And
knew
you-
that because of the NOAA charts, or the GRIB charts.
Now, is that information available somewhere else now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether or not you can use Wi-Fi away from land. If it's satellite linked, you probably could.
Okay, there's some
They
information
probably
in
have
on
some
on that.
capability to use a laptop using satellites
Mhm.
today, where you wouldn't need to do that.
But
You
having
can probably
the redundancy is
hook it
good.
up to your satellite radio. I'm sure there are some hookups that are available, so you can hook up your laptop to satellite.
Okay. I'm sure John is
Okay.
doing those things.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot of things. I'll give you a checklist, by the way.
Oh, super.
That tells you we've checked
Okay.
everything. We've checked our through holes.
Oh.
We've checked electronics. We've
That's
checked
the
the filters. We've checked that we have an EPIRB.
Now, how often do you have to check and see if those are charged, or they stay charged, or?
You're supposed to, once a year, you have
Uh-huh.
to re-register them.